We can start.
Okay. Good evening to my fellow interviewer, Mirza Danish, and our special guest today. And allow me to introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Harid Aiman bin Omar, and you may call me Harid. And I am 20 years old. I come from Selangor, Malaysia. And for now, I am pursuing diploma in English Communication at College Professional Mara Indra Mahkota. And it's truly a pleasure to be here today, and I look forward for our conversation. And for the next part, I would like to let my friends to introduce himself.
Okay.
Good evening to my fellow interviewer and our special guest for today. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Mirza Danish. You can call me Danish. I am 20 years old and I come from Pahang, Malaysia. Currently, I am pursuing a diploma in English communication at same college with her Harry. Today is a golden opportunity to have you here and I'm looking forward to our discussion today.
Okay. That's very nice of you.
Okay, for before we get started, let me brief a little bit about our um, subject, which is pragmatics. To make it simple, pragmatics is the study of how people use language in real life situations, focusing on how meaning is shaped by context, social interactions, and the speaker's intention. And for the next part, I would like to pass to my friend to explain about intercultural communication.
Okay.
Okay, for this part, intercultural communication is the enhance of information and ideas between people from different cultures. Before we get deeper into our conversation, can you please introduce yourself and where are you from?
So in order to introduce myself, let's start first with my name. I'm Abdullah. I'm currently 18 years old. I live in Morocco, and I am currently a high school student. And I guess that's enough for a simple introduction.
Nice to meet you, Abdullah. Can you tell
Same to you.
us a little bit about your family background?
Okay. So I come from a middle class family. My dad works as a waiter in a small shop, and my mom's a housewife. I have two sisters, two younger sisters that I'm proud to have, and I'm very happy to actually have. I like my relationship with them, and I love them very much. And yeah, that's it for the family background.
Um, um, let's get started with list of questions. And for the first questions, have you ever heard about intercultural communication? If yes, can you tell us a little bit about it in a simple way?
Okay, so I did actually hear about the term intercultural communication. I think, according to what I remember, it means the communication between different cultures that allows them to share their different habits and attitudes and traditions in order to understand each other better and to improve the international collaboration between these cultures.
Oh, okay. Um, in Moroccan, as a Moroccan, can
Yeah.
you share with us about Moroccan culture in terms of politeness towards elder people or senior citizens?
Okay, so here in Morocco, it is really necessary to respect your elders because if you don't, then you're going to look like a criminal that the law has to punish. First of all, when you enter a house, somebody's house, the first thing you should do is to greet the seniors first, and then the younger people. Seniors are always first. When you greet them, some people kiss their hands. For example, some bow in respect, even though that doesn't happen a lot nowadays. And aside from that, if they're telling you something, then you really have to pay attention because it's really important since it's coming from your elders, and you really have to respect them. That's like a rule here in Morocco.
Okay, thank you for the answer. For the third question, as a
Okay.
Moroccan, do you ever find yourself accidentally using other dialects when talking to people who have different backgrounds? If yes, can you explain more about it?
Okay, so yes, I do find myself speaking in other dialects when talking to different people. Because first of all, here in Morocco, we have lots of cultures mixing up together. And for me, I do actually study in a boarding school, I guess, or boarding school. I'm not sure from the term, but we have people from different backgrounds all mixed up together. So when I'm talking to Tamazight people, it's not the same. It's not in the same way that I'm talking to people from Marrakesh, for example, which is another city, and not the same way if I'm talking with someone from my own original city, which comes from the north. Our dialects are really different from each other, and when I try to speak with someone, I try to use their dialect so they can understand me in a better way, and so that they won't confuse a few words that I'm going to be saying. Plus, it also shows us an aspect of respect towards them and giving them importance because you're valuing their own culture and you're talking with them using it. And I I also use their dialect more than my own because they won't understand me if I use my own dialect.
And for the next question, what are some gestures that people from other countries should be aware of when interacting with Moroccans?
Okay, so I would like to divide this particular subject into two parts. One when dealing with women citizens, and one with dealing with men. If you're a foreigner and it's your first time here in Morocco, you should really be aware of the fact that here in Morocco, women don't like handshakes, don't like any kind of physical contact, even if it was the slightest touch or something similar, as a Muslim country, of course. And when talking to women, don't offer her a handshake unless she does first, because that means she's comfortable with it. If she doesn't, then you should not do it. You should not keep eye contact with her or stare at her in any way possible, even if it was a friendly gesture in your own country. It probably doesn't mean the same here in our culture. And when dealing with people, with men, I don't think there are lots of problems with dealing with men because universally speaking, men understand each other. I guess.
For the next question,
Uh,
what kinds of greetings or phrase are considered polite in Moroccan culture?
Okay, so as a Muslim country, of course, the greeting "Assalamu alaikum" still stands as the most accepted and most known and most used greeting. It's really like the best one you can use here. I guess that's it. Assalamu alaikum is universal and it's the most used here in Morocco.
for the next question, what kind of gestures in Morocco are possibly rude or offensive towards other cultures?
Okay, first of all, let's speak about table manners. Gestures that are considered rude or offensive is eating from. Okay, so here in Morocco, we eat from the same plate. All of the family, all of the guests, everyone eats from the same plate using their hands or spoons or whatever tools are available, depending on the meal. What's considered rude is, for example, when you're sitting together and you're eating, it's really advised to eat from the place nearby you and not to go for somebody's else part of the plate. Yeah, because if you do that, look rude and offensive. And at times I used to do this when I was a kid, and my dad really showed me the importance of not doing it because I don't want to be punished by him again. Aside from that, if you had guests and you were like eating together, and well, you had guests, you were not supposed to eat any special candies or food that's considered delicious or brilliant or great or not so familiar. because you have to let the guests eat them first because they are the guests, and you have to show them that you care about them, that you respect them, and that you want them to have the best things. Because we generally in Morocco are very welcoming people. We like having guests. We like treating them well. We like treating them like kings, you can say.
Is there any any other sign or what do we call gestures that are considered as a sign of disagreement? Is there any
Disagreements.
many? What kind of
Okay.
what are these?
For
Is there any
for
example other than red eyes?
disagreements. Okay, other than the red eye. Well, there's always the okay, what can I say? Not in your head, like I said previously, which makes you question what you did. It's like, are you sure? Or is that really correct? Or was that really the best thing to do? Which makes you start questioning yourself. There is the okay, staring intensively without saying anything, like you're shocked from what the person just did, or you're in total disagreement with what he just did, like this.
For the next question, can you tell us some traditional hand gestures that are always used in communication between Moroccans? And for example, like Italians, they do have the this hand
Yeah,
gestures, right?
the Mamma
Is
Mia,
there
yes.
uh,
Okay, for Moroccans,
yeah, they are similar to the Mamma Mia gestures that are always used by Italians.
well, there is something like this, I guess, which means that
Ah,
it's perfect. So
okay.
when you do something that's good, they're going to do like this, like it's a 5 out of 5. It's a great one. It's a good thing that you just did. Uh, Aside from that, we don't have lots of hand gestures like that.
Okay.
Not
Okay,
that I'm aware of.
thank you. Okay, for the next question, have you ever faced any challenge when communicating with people from different cultures? And can you tell us about the challenge that you need to face?
And I guess yes, this is my answer about the trouble in communication. It depends on how different is your culture towards compared to theirs. Because if we had lots of similarities, we're not going to have troubles while communicating. But if the differences were very big or very wide, then yes, we're going to have some troubles, and it's going to need a little bit more effort to understand each other.
Yeah, sure. There are a lot of challenges when you are communicating with other people from other cultural background. Is there any situations that can make um the communication feels a lot more harder? For example, like if the person that you are talking to are using a strong accent, for example.
Can you like repeat the last part? I wasn't really paying attention. Sorry.
Oh, there's a lot of challenges, of course, right? Um,
Yeah.
um, how do I say it? Is there any other challenges that you experience when communicating or watching a videos? Maybe that people have a different accents and it's strong where it is hard for you to understand them. Is there any
Well,
experience like that?
actually, I think that the accent doesn't really matter, even if it was a little bit too strong, maybe. Because the main ideas are going to be the same in every accent possible. And even if it was a little bit too strong, I guess I'm going to understand the most parts of what he's saying. And if I had any lacunes in my understanding, I would just tell him straight away so he can repeat what he was just saying. The main accents that I do face trouble most of the time with is mainly the British accent it was too strong because they speak a little bit too fast and their pronouncing is quite awkward and off at times. And the Indian accents. The Indian accents, I do have troubles while following like tutorials of their channels, and I don't understand a few words, even if it was English, but their accent is quite too strong to understand. But I get the most part of what they're saying, fortunately.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. For the next question, when Morocco are having an issue or conflict towards other people, do they approach that person and talk about the problem, or they just being silent about it?
So, you said when like Moroccans have problems, they flee the country.
No, no. I mean,
Okay.
uh, I mean, for example, I and my friend have an conflict. Yeah. So, have
A
you,
conflict.
yeah, person. So you talk about the problem to solve it, or you just keep silence about the problem. How you manage that problem?
Well, in the Moroccan culture, I think when we have problems, we like to ignore it and we don't talk about it much. This is very common in Morocco. It's actually a bad behavior because if we just gave each other the opportunity to talk and express our feelings about this problem, I think lots of problems would have been solved by now. But we do not actually. The big majority doesn't actually. They just like to ignore the problem, or just to stop talking with the other person like infinitely. I even know a few family members of mine that we do have problems with, and it's been years since we talked with each other.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the answer. For the last question,
Yes.
in Malaysia, we should talk to someone who are older than us in a soft and polite tone. In Morocco culture, does talking tone play a big role in your community?
Well, yes, the talking tune is very important while speaking to your seniors and to pretty much everybody because the talking tune can change a lot of what you understand. Like if I was talking with my mother and I said, "Excuse me," in a little bit too loud voice than what I meant to say, she's going to understand that I am angry with her and I do not agree with something that she did. She's going to start talking about it and why did you just speak with me in this tune? It's not something that you're supposed to do while speaking to your parents. And it's not like only with when speaking to parents, it's like when speaking to any other senior. I do remember once when I was a kid, I used to play football with the other kids my age. Like when I was 8 years old, 9 years old, something like that. We used to play football together a lot in the neighbor, and at times we annoyed the our neighbors. We annoyed them a lot actually. Imagine the voice of the ball hitting your wall again and again and
Yeah,
again, and
I
kids
know.
shouting in the streets. I do agree with what I do think that it was annoying actually. So they had the right to tell us not to reduce our volume a bit. And I remember once that's my neighbor, an old woman actually. She sneaked through her window and told us not to bother her anymore with the ball. And I got upset. I got I got upset. I took the ball with me and I got home. I entered. I told my father about it, and he was like, "Well, she doesn't exactly have the right to tell you not to play. It's your own neighbor, after all." He was just comforting me about it. And you know what I did? I actually went outside again and took the ball with me, and we started playing. And she came again. She told us not to do it, and I was like, I was, well, actually, it's not your neighbor, and you're not allowed to tell us not to play. We do have the right to play. And I shouted at her. And I won't really. I did not hear the end of that quite soon. My mother kept reminding me again and again and again, and whenever I saw that neighbor, she kept shouting at me and saying, "You're an impolite brat who does not respect his seniors and stuff." Even though I did not mean to say it like that, I just told her that it's actually not all right. But because I was shouting, it was misunderstood, and the neighbor actually still remembers me till now.
Okay, Abdullah. And that is the end of the questions. And before we end our interview session, and thank you for all the answer and the information that you just gave us. And
You're very much welcome.
have a great day, Abdullah. And
Thank
thank
you.
you so much. And I am really grateful for this opportunity to interview you.